Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q2 FY22 earnings conference call of Rupa and Company Limited. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Dinesh Lodha, CEO of Rupa and Company. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, and hello and good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I hope you are keeping safe and healthy during this time. Despite the challenges faced during the first half of the year, the company has remained resilient and revenue has grown by 14% to 586 crore, and EBITDA and PAT has increased by 11 and 22% respectively on the back of improved operating efficiency and cost reduction strategy adopted by the company. We have seen improved traction during the festive, and we expect much better second half. In fact, Q3 looking pretty upbeat, where we are looking to grow again 18 to 20%. Our products are well accepted among the customer. In line with the evolving customer preference and market demand, the company introduced new variety in each sub-brand. This product has latest fabric innovation, cutting-edge production technique, and advanced design element to give the finest experience of style and comfort to the end user. The product we launched last quarter, which is the colored drawer, has again seen a very good traction, and we're seeing that give us a great result in the coming quarter. The company is looking to expand its footprint across the entire country. We are looking to penetrate in new markets and appointing new distributor. And we started seeing a very good result from Q2, and we're expecting that new markets we will see a solid growth in second half too. As per we will seeing a good increase in terms of the branding activity both on TV as well as print media, and we're expecting our marketing cost, which is right now at 4%, will go back to a 5 to 6% in second half. Export is a great result for us. Export in the last few quarters has increased steadily. We have export has grown 215% to 9 crore in the first half. Export has grown 175 to 14 crore in the first half actually. We expect the business come back to normalcy, and overall we feel what export can be double this year, which we expected earlier in 23. So again, export is a great result for us, and we are expecting that to continue in second half also. Modern trade again showing a good growth, and e-commerce as well as large stores has been doing a good result. We have opened about 17 EBOs by now, and we are expecting by the year end 35 EBOs. I think as we targeted earlier that 150 EBO in next 2 years time, we are on the plan and we are looking forward to doing that. On the working capital, we have seen slight increase on overall working number of days from earlier 165 to 179 days, but I think the major concern or where we are seeing the inventory which has gone up, and there are two reasons which has showing up there. One is volume, which we expected 11-12% this quarter, which has grown 5 to 6%, and the second is the price rise of the raw material. Both has impacted the inventory. We feel by Q3 we should be back to a number of days of 160 or below 160, which is what we are targeting right now. And overall by the year end we should be ending at 150 or below, which is 10% reduction on working capital days. Coming to financials, our company reported, as I said, strong growth in the quarter and half yearly. Revenue of Q2 22 stood 368 crore versus 304 crore, registering a growth of 21% year-on-year basis. We have also seen, as I said, good traction in the festive, which is showing great momentum right now for Q3. EBITDA has been growth about 8% to stood at 71 crore compared to 66 crore in Q2 last year. Our EBITDA margin is quarter stood 19.4%. PAT, which has moved to 53 crore from 45 crore, which is a growth of 17%. Margin is 14.4%. Revenue for the first half is 586 crore, which is against 513 crore with a 14% growth. EBITDA growth is 11% and margin is 19.4% on EBITDA. PAT again moved to 80 crore, which is a growth of 22% margin, and the first half 14%. So overall, the momentum is solid right now. We do have some challenges in the first quarter, as you have seen, particularly in premium brand like M Series and Bum Chum, where we have some supply concern. But quarter 2 looks upward, and quarter 3 again looking very bright right now with the momentum what we are seeing in the festive season. So again, I will keep now more on the open to questions for you. And overall, as I said, momentum is set, and we look forward to much bigger number in quarter 3 and quarter 4. And overall, just to give a final touch, overall, which we have expected earlier to 15 to 16% growth in a year, we're expecting now to grow at 17-18% on a yearly basis, and we're expecting our EBITDA margin, which is, we have said, 1% lower than last year, both EBITDA and PAT. Now we are expecting that both this will be in line of percentage of last year or a little better. So again, thank you, and let's open for questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who would like to ask a question, please press star and 1 at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Dhruv Kashyap from Mart. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Lodha. Good afternoon, Mr. Agarwal, and congratulations on not just this quarter, but the last few quarters and years, the momentum that you've been carrying forward, and sort of heartiest congratulations to you and your teams. My first question, sir, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, in the last 5 or 10 years ago, not very distant past, but in the sort of medium past, there was a time when Lux and Rupa was almost neck to neck. In the last few quarters and years, it's looking like now they're tracking to almost double of Rupa. If you see this quarter numbers, I think they did a top line of 620 crores versus we did about 330. They did a profit of about 100 crores. We did about 55. Last year, they did 275 crores. We did 175 crores of PAT. So would you be able to shed some light on what is it that they are doing so right, and what is it that we can also try and do to catch up?
So I think 4-5 years, as you mentioned, Lyra and Genex both are separate P&L, and that has been merged actually from the last year. So that can be, if you just see apple to apple on 18-19, just take the 18-19 number also, or just go below, you will have the gap is always there at that time also. So it's not that it is changed in last 3-4 years. Yes, definitely there is areas where we are feeling that clearly on a women's side, I think there is a gap right now, which we are building on right now. Both our brand, in terms of our softline brand, which we are seeing, there is a huge opportunity to uptake. On export also, we are seeing a lot of traction where we feel there is a great opportunity, which we are now, though this year we are doubling the number, but that's not good enough. We may have to, we want to, our target internally is that we want to grow into 5x in next 2 years' time, and we are working towards that. So there are 2-3 major regions where we are seeing, and we are aware of those regions. We are working towards that. I think the major 3-4 things which we know, I think clearly we can see clearly the export, women segment. These are the 2 big gaps right now where we are trying to make sure that we are building our strategy and the team in place very fast.
Thanks, sir. And my second question, sir, is that in terms of product portfolio, we have a very strong portfolio in innerwear and undergarments, both for kids, gentlemen, and women. We also have significant inroads in athleisure. And if I'm not mistaken, we've defined it as sort of casual and athleisure. So we are also doing outerwear in line with casual, like, it could be Bermudas or T-shirts or shorts, etc. My question to you was that, is there anything else that we are missing in terms of these spaces that we could capture? I mean, for example, as a very layman, if I was to ask you, if I go to a innerwear store, I tend to buy my innerwear, my socks, and my handkerchiefs together. So are there spaces like handkerchiefs? Are there spaces like casual wear for kids or men or women, outerwear? Is there a space in ethnic wear for Indian men or women? I mean, are there spaces that we believe we can capture with our brand being able to extend there? Or do you think you've covered all bases in terms of product category? Thank you.
I think you rightly said. Clearly, we're seeing athleisure is a huge opportunity. Though we have, if you remember, last year we've grown more than 50%, but the opportunity is huge. And this year we struggle in first quarter because of supply chain issue in Tripur. But now we are looking forward to grow this again 30% this year. Same with the kids line. Kids is just a 4% of our number. Now this is an opportunity where it can be grown to 10%. So we are working on new segment of product portfolio. So definitely there is an opportunity on women, athleisure and the kids segment. I think we are working on the product portfolio to grow both on the product portfolio plus also in terms of building the right team in terms in the region. Beyond that, I just said last time, our sixth strategy, which we have talked about, clearly the expansion of market in new areas is a huge market where we feel that we can penetrate more, and we are seeing that traction very much there. And we will be seeing that helping us to grow in a long-term basis. This year, as you said, we should be seeing a solid momentum in those markets to get us to 18-19% growth. What are you looking for? But your suggestions are right. I think those areas are there where we are working on.
Right. And my last question, sir, is that given that there is a lot of buoyancy in exports and the number of markets that you've identified, be it the US, Russia, the Gulf countries, Singapore, Asia Pacific, there are so many countries which are white spaces. Isn't a 12 or a 13 crore export number going to 25 crores a fairly small number in terms of top line coming from so many countries?
I just said that, right, that doubling is not good enough for us, and we are looking to have a 5x number in 2 to 3 years' time. So to make it to 100 crore number from 20 crore, I think that is where we are gunning for in next 2 to 2.5 years. So you rightly said the growth percentage may be looking good, but these are opportunities which can grow in X factor, not the percentage. So I think we're working on that. That's why this is doubling this year. But the work what we are doing right now on a long-term basis, which we are expecting that it should be 100 crore plus in next 2 to 3 years' time, which is a 5x from now.
Right. That's a very reassuring answer. Maybe I missed that, what you said. Sorry for that. And thank you so much, Mr. Lodha and Mr. Agarwal, and keep doing the great work that you've been doing with Rupa. All the very best, and happy Dhanteras and happy Diwali to you and your teams.
Thank you, and happy Dhanteras to all in the call.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Vibha Batra from Fair Connect. Please go ahead.
My question is on the brand building. You said your, the expenses will go up by 1 or 2%, but your guidance on EBITDA margin remains the same. So I just wanted to understand the maths. What will lead to this improvement effectively?
It will be more on operational efficiency. As I said, next 2 quarters we are again looking to grow at 18-20%. And that will give us the operational efficiency, and it will help us overall in terms of EBITDA margin. So clearly, those are already part of the factor where we have said that our advertisement cost will move to 5.5 to 6%, but we will remain on the EBITDA or the PAT basis because of the volume jump.
Okay. So that means your growth in the second half will be significantly higher than the first half?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of value addition, if you were to see the segments that you spoke about, the women's segment, the export, athleisure, and your normal segment, is there a scope that in the presentation, if you can give segment-wise revenue and EBITDA margins in these segments, and so that we know the direction in which the company is growing?
So women has grown clearly, as I said, this first half. We have seen a volume growth as well as a value growth on 15 to 20%. but on a first half basis it's 30%, and quarter two basis 30%, and first half basis 18-20%. Where we are seeing some challenge, as I said, in quarter one we are seeing a challenge in the premium segment M-Series, where we have a supply chain issue, and that is the reason on a first half basis that number is negative or 10%. But we are expecting, because those are a supply chain issue, but we've seen that jumping in the second half to give us a 15-20% growth momentum what we're looking for in a premium segment. As far as overall is concerned, our percentage of economy remain about 25-30%, mid-premium, premium gross margin remains same on economy about 20-25%, mid-premium is 25-30%, and premium giving us 40-45%. So that's a mix we have on the margin part. As far as percentage in terms of overall number is concerned, I think that also is very much there on the women segment is right now 12% of our number, men is about 83%, and kids is 4%. It's pretty much aligned what we have, in fact last year, not a major change. Beside, as I told you, only change which we are seeing right now, the first quarter where we are seeing a premium is gone dip because of the supply chain issue, which has recovered this quarter, and overall in the year, I think it will become 10% of our number.
And what is the EBITDA margin in the premium segment?
EBITDA will be similar percentage-wise. It will go down to that percentage. So we don't have product at this point in time at EBITDA margin, but overall, as you've seen, the EBITDA has been what we have talked about. EBITDA at a level is 21.8% on a quarter two basis, and on first half basis 20%.
So if the EBITDA margin in premium is the same as the normal
19.4 and 19.
Why do you call it premium then? Due to the pricing. Your EBITDA margin is same in all the products.
No, I'm talking about overall premium EBITDA of the company. As I said, the gross margin is higher in premium, and accordingly, EBITDA margin is also higher in the premium.
Okay. And so do you think the share of this premium will go up over next 2 to 3 years?
Absolutely. Both M-Series and other brand, we are seeing clearly traction. Just the first quarter, because Karnataka has a long lockdown, and that has impacted our supply chain in Bangalore. That has impacted the quarter one number, and we are seeing a huge drop in the number in quarter one in the premium segment, but quarter two has a solid growth in the premium segment, and that is the reason I'm saying the quarter two momentum will carry forward in quarter three, quarter four to give us the result what we're looking in a premium.
Okay. So over longer term, next 2 to 3 years, what kind of growth can one expect on top line, and what kind of EBITDA margins do you expect? And do you have
We are expecting about 15 to 20% in the range of growth, and we are looking EBITDA 1% improvement year after year.
Year after year. Okay.
Yeah.
And that will be purely because of scale.
Yes. Largely on scale.
Okay. One last question. Your margins, through the e-commerce versus the physical retail chains, where are the margins better?
It's pretty similar actually, because of the mix also, but it's pretty similar.
Okay. It's pretty similar. And what's the share of e-commerce in your overall sales?
Our modern trade right now 4% of our number, which used to be 2 to 3%, but it will move to 5 to 6% as we go forward because of the improvement what we are seeing.
Okay. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Surti Saraugi from Smith Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Ma'am, your audio is quite low. Can you please speak a bit louder or increase the volume on your phone?
Okay. Hello. Is it better now?
No, it is not audible.
It's better.
Sir, my question is that on an year-on-year basis, your revenues and EBITDA have increased, but your EBITDA margin has reduced. So can you explain the reason behind that? Why EBITDA margins have reduced?
Yeah, EBITDA margin is reduced because the advertisement cost has overall on a first half basis has gone up, from 15 crore to a percentage basis also and absolute number also. So it is gone up by 5.6% on that, and also salary also, the employee cost also has gone up because as you remember last year the increment has been position and also we have added resources. It is both these are accounting about 1.2%, 1.3%, which is impacting the data.
Okay. And sir, my another question is, can you just repeat your growth guidance for the second half and for the full financial year 23?
Yes, I said we have said earlier 15 to 16%. Now we are looking to grow at 17 to 18% on a yearly basis. And also EBITDA, which we said 1%, 1.5% drop from the last year percentage. Now we are looking to have last year EBITDA percentage.
Okay, sir. Sir, this guidance is for the full financial year 23.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankit Kedia from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Sir, just wanted to understand how has been the volume and pricing growth in the quarter, and going forward, given that the Tirupur Association has increased the cost by 25% per piece on garment manufacturing, how do you look at the raw material pressure going forward?
So Rob, as you rightly said, I think raw material pressure is there, and we are expecting one more price rise soon as far as the market is concerned. But we need to see how the market behave, and accordingly we need to take a call. As far as volume and price is concerned, we have seen volume of grown of 5.5%, value price rise given a 15 to 16%, getting us a 21% growth on a quarter basis. So clearly it is a more driver right now on the price, which is helping us to grow. But on a quarter 3 and quarter 4, we are expecting volume to grow at much higher rate and giving us much higher overall growth number in quarter 3 and quarter 4.
And sir, given that the RM pressure is there and we have not taken a price increase yet for the incremental RM pressure, do you think it would be tough for you to maintain current level gross margins, or you think from quarter 4 onwards there could be some impact of that?
I think quarter 3 we have raised the price as far as market is concerned, and we expecting one more rise in price soon. But if this continue to be rise, then there may be a pressure in quarter 4 onwards. Clearly, at this point in time, we are sitting in the inventory which is 500 plus crore, and that has old prices a lot. So having said that, if the price rise continue to be there, then definitely there can be impact on the margin percentage. But at this point in time, we don't see that, and we have able to pass on most of the things. But let's see how it goes.
And sir, for quarter 3, since we are guiding for higher growth numbers, how has been the buying for the winter in the thermal wear? Because by now, all the supplies would have happened at the distributor and at the retail counters. So if you can just throw some light on that.
So quarter 2, we have grown thermal over 24%, but on a yearly basis, we are expecting to 30% growth on a thermal. If you remember last year also we grown over 25%. So year after year we are expecting this year to be 30% plus. And we have built our plan like that, and that is one of the reasons the inventory has been built up.
So my last question is on the geography expansion, with primary and distributor reach. So if you can just help us understand from a distribution point of view, what is the OPEX cost you are looking at when you are entering a new geography in terms of manpower, in terms of distribution strength, and by when could be the revenue increase come in the system from the new geography, or is it typically immediate?
So I think some of the markets start already giving good results, but some of the markets will be starting giving result in the second half. And we are expecting this year from the extension of whatever new geography we are talking, we are expecting that geography to give us a 50% growth. Though the base is still low, which is at 14-15% of the revenue, but that will help us overall growth of 18-19%.
Sure. So that's it from my side. Only one small suggestion. In your presentation, sir, some of your peers are, explicitly calling out volume and value data in the 3 categories. I would appreciate if you can do the same in your presentation. It will help us analyze the company better.
Sure. We'll take your suggestion.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Puneet Mittal from Global Core Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity and congratulations for a good set of numbers. I have just one question. When I see you and your peers all are adopting or going on the same strategy of opening up EBOs, focusing on e-commerce, focusing on premium segments, celebrity endorsement with 6 to 7% of ad spends. So what differentiates Rupa and your company and the strategy compared to peers, or is it becoming a same crowded space where everyone is adopting the same strategy?
No, I think each area, I think we have our own differentiate factor. Like in case of advertisement, there are a lot of focus is on TV ad. We have huge expansion happening on a social media. Clearly, we are seeing the mobile is the new TV, and we are spending a lot there. And also, we are expanding on our ad a lot on ground advertisement, both in shop marketing as well as doing a retail meet. So there is definitely more presence at the local ground level we are doing. Beside the TV ad, which is normally used to do. So that is one which we are doing on a marketing side, clearly differentiating there. Plus, shop in shop model and multiple place where we're expanding right now, we are experiencing that. As far as revenue, the business is concerned, clearly one of the big area where we are expanding is the geographical reach. I think the states which we have right now, 14-15% contribution of our revenue, we are trying to have those markets to grow at 40-50% this year against the normal growth of say 8-9% other areas, so that it blending it give us 18-19%, 17-18% number. So there definitely one area. The second, as I said, our product portfolio wise, clearly we are expanding very aggressively on the women's segment and athleisure. I think we have an edge on the athleisure right now, and we clearly going to aggressive there in terms of giving outerwear solution to the customers on a completeness, whether it is day wearing or night wearing, both. I think we're working on right now, so that will be giving us again edge in the market. So clearly, I think these 2, 3, 4 areas where we are seeing beside the premium, where we have in-house premium brand, which is more than 100 crore now. I think that is again an edge which we have, which we are planning to expand rapidly, though we have a significant challenges in Q1, I just said, due to temporary supply chain issue, and that impacted our overall number on YTD basis. But we have overcome all these things, and we will be seeing Q3, Q4 with upward and solid trend.
Thank you. We lost this line, so we'll move to the next question, which is from the line of Dhiral Shah from PhillipCapital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. So what is the volume and value growth for H1?
So H1 volume is a flat, and the 14% growth is primarily coming on the price rise only. But as I said, we are looking to Q3 at the volume growth of 10 to 11% and value at 20% plus. So clearly we should able to overcome the situation. We do have some issues, as I said, Q1 where we have almost negative volume growth, which is impacting the first half number. And there are some parts which is reflecting because of the supply chain issue what we faced in Q1. But on a yearly basis, we are clearly seeing 8 to 10% momentum.
Okay, but sir, when I compare it with our peers, sir, so have we lost some market share? Because if I see the revenue growth, of the other companies, so our revenue growth is much lower as compared to our peers, sir. At least for Q2.
I will say you are right now. The only thing you should see also the background of that we've grown 35% last year, and where competition has not grown that much, so you may have to analyze that also. But having said that, we are looking guidance of 18-19% against our 15-16% overall growth, and on our EBITDA basis also we are seeing improvement as well as things. So yes, temporary, yes, for some part maybe on a just if you see standalone, but if you compare seeing last year growth and this year growth, you will see that that's not the case. But we are aware that there are some areas where we have not done well, and we expecting that turnaround in Q3, Q4.
Okay. And sir, when you talked about newer geographies, if you can explain in detail, which are those geographies, where we are targeting, 40-50% kind of a growth, and how many, distributors you have added in that region particularly?
So we are seeing a growth opportunity which we are working right now in MP, Chhattisgarh. We are looking Western UP, some of the Maharashtra area, pockets of Maharashtra, West Bengal, some of the south areas where we are negligible presence. We have already added more than 65 to 70 distributors in last 6 months' time, and we have built almost a solid team in most of the places. As I said, the second quarter has started showing results, and quarter 3, quarter 4, we are heavily seeing 40-50% growth in those markets to give us an overall growth number.
Okay. And sir, in this quarter particularly, sir, our subcontracting cost was much higher as compared to our revenue growth.
So that is more related to inventory, right? The inventory has gone up more higher number, and that is related to that. So accordingly, it moves always.
Okay. And sir, lastly, what was the ad spend in H1, and what is the full year guidance, sir, for ad spend?
So ad spend right now is about 3.5% of our numbers, but overall it will go up to 6%, 5.5 to 6% in yearly basis.
Full year FY22?
Yeah, 5.5% to 6%.
Okay. And sir, lastly, what was the athleisure growth and women's wear growth in H1?
Women's, as I said, we have a growth of 18 to 20% as far as women is concerned. We are value-wise, we have grown 28% on the women's side. But on athleisure, first half, we are seeing some drop in number because, as I said, first quarter has a huge impact on the supply chain. That impacted the overall number in terms of on a quarter 2 basis, I think the athleisure has grown 22%. But on first half basis, it's degrown because of the first quarter challenge in the supply chain.
And sir, in press release, you talked about cost reduction strategy. So if you can explain, if you can highlight, some thought on that, what is the strategy you're talking about?
Is more to do with more on the operating efficiency and also some of the stuff which we have now in-house, whether it is a cutting and all which used to outsource now is completely in-house. So those are the stuff which we are already doing, and as we go forward, we are looking forward also stitching and all to do in-house to improve on the cost side.
Okay, got it. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Any other question, Mr. Shah?
No, ma'am. Thank you. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajiv Bharti from DAM Capital. Please go ahead. Rajiv Bharti from DAM Capital, your line has been unmuted. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, so thanks for the opportunity. So my question is on the pricing in online and brick and mortar. Is the pricing same, and are you able to control the pricing on both these ends? And the extension of this is, are the gross margins same on both these channels?
I think prices are very similar, and also we have a very clear understanding with these all e-commerce players that they cannot play on price. So we have the clear understanding that they will not be dropping the price because that will have a clash with the GT. As far as we are also adopting a strategy to build some new product portfolio just dedicated for this segment, that will help us also to get into more aggressive manner in those segments. But to your question, yeah, it's very similar and margins are pretty similar.
So my understanding is that from on the online side, if your gross margin is 37% and you're saying the EBITDA margin is same, so remaining in a sense if your EBITDA margin is 20% on online as well, then remaining 16% is the platform fee. What you're paying for?
So the gross margin, as I said, direct cost will be little lower, but EBITDA, the gross margin will have higher, the lower percentage by 1 or 2%, but that will offset by the higher cost in terms of marketing, what we do along with the all e-commerce players. So net, it will at EBITDA level, it will remain same.
No, so I want to understand that cost from gross margin to EBITDA.
Same, about 4% is our manpower cost, is the same coming here also.
Okay, and in this case, let's say you're doing on the popular e-com channel, so the platform fees would be of what order?
We don't do any SOR model. It's all outright. So on outright basis, everything works.
Okay. And has there been any progress on simplifying the company structure, related party?
Yeah, it is continuous effort, and we are bringing that down. Except that the stitching unit and waiver, some of the things which we have, but most of the things we are slowly coming down further. But these are all because we really need to have those levers and all, which we cannot everything on our books. But as a company, we have decided to bring it down further, and every quarter we'll see that going forward.
Okay. And lastly, on the price, as you said that in H1 and almost entire growth is price led. So what portion is due to mix change in this, or the entire thing is basically price?
So mix is also there, but my major portion is part of the price only. As I said, some mix problem is there in Q1, right, where premium has been gone down because of the supply chain issue and athleisure going down. But now again, every Q2, if I see, it is across the segment where we are seeing the growth is coming in that sense.
And you said that you have spent 3.5% in H1 on ads, and then you want to scale that number to 5.5-6% in the remaining second quarter. Has historically the ad expense been such skewed in terms of H2 being much heavier than H1, barring that you had a disruption?
If I see fiscal 21, 22 similar, but some part, it depends on when you start some of the marketing activity. So we are aggressively building our thermal campaign and with Ranveer Singh and board, and we are also aggressively planning for Q4 right now. So both this will be there, but some skewed is there. I'll not say that entirely the percentage remains same, but normally first half is 4.5%, and second half normally 6-7%. This year will be little down, where our first half is 3.5 to 4%, 3.5, but second half will be little higher. Yeah.
Yeah. And one more question, if you can squeeze one. In terms of, let's say, you're insourcing some of the activities which you used to outsource, but as a portfolio moves on the premium side, shouldn't pure play outsourcing work better? In the sense, if you're insourcing, I thought that works more for if you're working in a mass channel. But if you're looking towards the premiumization of your portfolio, outsourcing would be better.
Select product depend on, like FCUK and FOTL, we continue to do outsourcing, but on M series where we have all inbuilt, because we want to make sure everything is completely tested and in-house and done. It's a company, we always take a call based on cost benefit analysis and quality, and also capability on the market side where we have, like take example Bangalore, how things are, or that Faridabad, how Ghaziabad, how will be. So depend on the place, we mix and match in that sense.
Great, sir. Thanks a lot. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devanshu Bansal from Emkay Global Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon to the management, and thanks for taking my question. Sir, my questions were around the women wear category. So firstly, how do you compare your product offering in this category versus players like Go Colors?
We have a similar product in that sense, the leggings and all, plus we have extra product like bra and all, but they are largely on EVO model as well as large format, where we are still a big play on the GT. But we are expanding now in e-commerce and large format also. But there is a huge opportunity. I earlier said we still growing this right now at 20-30%. That's not going to give us much bigger growth. We are looking this to grow at 50% by this year end, and we are working on towards that, and that is still will be small, because from 71 crore or 73 crore base to move into 100 crore plus may give us a growth, but it's still at the very early, because we know our competition is much higher, and we see that as a huge opportunity to grow. And as internally, we are also putting together a strategy to expand all the three segments, whether it is a GT or e-commerce or EBO. and clearly that should be our game plan as we go forward.
Currently, sir, what would be the concentration in terms of rural versus urban for this category?
So women is, as I said, women overall is 11 to 12% of our revenue right now, 12% of our revenue, and we are expecting this to become 17-18% in 2 years' time.
No, so I asked how much would be coming from rural versus urban currently.
So I think 40-60 what we're seeing right now, or that is the stuff we have always. So 40%, 45% coming from rural and 55% urban.
Okay. Secondly, what is the distribution reach that is currently there for women wear, athleisure and kids wear versus 1.25 lakh overall?
So there are a lot of common play, but women right now out of 1.25 lakhs, it's very difficult to say exactly how many shops will be there. But as far as distribution network is concerned, we are expanding rapidly in terms of women focused distributors. And that is where a strategy which we are playing, because common play, a lot of time your main product getting sold and the focus remain on the main product, which is easy to sell. So we are creating a dedicated line distributor network, which is focusing only on women and kids.
Thank you. Mr. Bansal, I would request you to rejoin the queue for follow-up questions. We will also request participants to limit your question to one at a time, and should you have a follow-up question, please rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Chirag Lodhia from ValueQuest. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, my first question was on what is the price increase you have taken over last 12 months?
So we, I think about 18% to 20% has been price rise. I don't expect data, but about 18 to 20% will be the price rise in last 1 year.
And what is the further price increase you are contemplating with the yarn prices moving up further?
I think there will be we are expecting price rise by 3 to 4% in next any time.
Right. And what was the volume growth in FY21, sir?
FY21 volume growth, I think it was 20. I don't have number in front of me, but 24%. I think we have grown 33% of value and 24-25% on a volume. Yeah, 23-24. Yeah.
Thank you. I would request Mr. Lodhia to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Prerna Jhunjhunwala from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Congratulations on a great set of numbers, sir. Just wanted to understand your CapEx plan for the next 3 to 5 years.
So we are right now on an average we do about 20 to 30 crores on a capex every year, which is normally on a warehousing and all the new packaging and other stuff. But we are also working as we go forward on other capex where we will be looking to grow the capex maybe 50 crore plus as we go forward in next year. And this year I think we'll be about 20-30 crore only. But next year we are looking to some in-house activity as I said earlier, and those activity will lead to some capex, but it will be lower only.
So your follow up on this only. If every year you're doing 20 to 30, 50 crores will be over and above that? Or
yeah, that's what the plan right now, but it's too early to comment completely because the discussion is on.
Okay. And could you please highlight your plans for FCUK and Fruit of the Loom, as you've highlighted that you will be increasing your distribution network. Apart from that, what are the strategies that would drive the growth in this super premium and premium segment? And where do you see 3 to 5 years down the line on this portfolio?
So we are expanding on e-commerce big time right now on both FOTL and FCUK. On a GT, there will be continue to be focusing in terms of creating new sockets. But our focus also become very high right now on the e-commerce platform where we are seeing good traction. And we are expecting this growth to be 20% plus year after year at this point of time.
Okay. Where do you see 3 to 5 years down the line?
On a CAGR basis, it will be 20% plus.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Praveen Sahay from Edelweiss Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. Just one query. As in the last 12 months, you had taken price hikes because the raw material prices were on the higher side up move. Further, you are guiding for some more price hikes to compensate that. In the past also, if you have done so, the question is like that. If the yarn prices or the raw material prices will go down, you will take the price back, or how how feasible to do that, or how you actually go ahead?
It is not depend on only us. It depend on industry also, frankly. It will just work with how the industry behaves. But we don't see right now price to getting down at this point in time. At least for the next 6 to 9 months, we're seeing this price to be stable or go up right now. So we don't see a huge drop right now, but it will be stable back to what we have just 2 months back. Currently, whatever price rise we are seeing, it may get back to what we are seeing in quarter one end. So, but as far as price drop is concerned, as we go forward, we don't know what exactly will be, but it's all depend on how the industry overall do, and we have to just be part of that.
So, just follow up on this. In the past, in the last say 5-7 years, have you on a verge of yarn prices corrections? Have you taken a price corrections at the end product as well?
Past definitely there must be some correction. There will be, but at this point in time, for last 2-3 years, we don't see that.
Okay, thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sonal Minhas from Prescient Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Sir, I wanted to understand your working capital cycle and steps taken by the company, and if you could give, let's say, a near-term guidance and a little longer-term guidance, that will be helpful. Thank you.
Right now, the working capital days is 179 days. Last quarter was 182 days, and year-end we are at 165. We are expecting working capital by the year-end to move to 150 plus, reduction of 10%. That is the original target we have, and we should be nearby that. Right now, we have built up some stock that, as I said earlier, the stock has gone up because of 2 reasons. One is volume, what we expected to grow at 11-12% in quarter 2. We have grown 5.5 to 6%. So that is impacted, and second is price rise. But we're expecting this to go down as we build quarter 3 and quarter 4, because quarter 3 you'll have a thermal, which is go down further. But on a long-term basis, we want it to go down to 120 days.
Okay, and just want to understand the steps taken by the company to actually bring this down. Internally, what are we doing operationally to get these down?
The word is not clear.
Sir, I was just asking, what are we doing operationally to get the working capital days down? I just wanted to understand that.
No, I think there are 2-3 things we are doing. One, the planning side, we are working right now to get the planning in the SAP HANA, the latest which we have. So we are building those things to automate the complete planning schedule, as far as inventory is concerned. And second, as I said, currently thermal and all has built up, which will be also going down automatically as the quarter 3 go up, because that's how liquidation will happen. On debtor side, we are working also with the banking side, where we have a requirement of credit. I think the banking side also we are taking now a tie-up with the banking to really give credit to distributor where they need without recourse to us. So those are the things we are working out in terms of both AR and inventory, so that it helps us overall bringing down the number of days.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Dinesh Lodha for closing comments.
So thank you again, and wish you all very happy Deepavali. And we are looking, and so again, I hope we have able to answer all your queries. In case you have any further details or query, you may please contact Mr. Deven Durwa from the Orient Capital, our investor relation partner. Again, I wish you all a very happy Deepavali and look forward to brighter quarter 3. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Rupa and Company Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.